Once upon a time, in a magical forest called Melody Woods, where the trees reached up to the sky and the rivers sang as they flowed, lived animals who loved music very much. To them, the rustling of leaves and the whistling of the wind were like a song. It was a scorching hot summer's day. The forest was quieter than usual. The sun was so bright that everyone was snoozing in the shade. The most energetic resident of the forest, a squirrel named Rusty, was lying on the branch of an oak tree, swishing his tail with boredom. "Oh dear," sighed Rusty. "It is so quiet today. Not a peep. Even the birds aren't singing." Just as Rusty was about to close his eyes, something wet and cool landed right on the tip of his nose. Plip! Rusty opened one eye. What was that? Then another one fell, this time on his ear. Plop! Rusty looked up. Grey clouds were gathering in the sky like piles of cotton wool. And then, the deep silence of the forest began to break. The rain was starting. But this wasn't just ordinary rain. This was the music Melody Woods had been waiting for. First, the raindrops began to fall gently onto the leaves. The drops hitting a large green leaf made a light, tapping sound. Pitter, patter, pitter. Rusty pricked up his ears. "Hey," he said. "That's a rhythm." Rusty began to tap his fluffy tail on the branch in time with the drops. Pitter, tap, patter, tap, pitter, tap. Meanwhile, in the tree next door, a woodpecker named Percy heard this sound from his hollow. Percy was a bird with a bright red cap who absolutely loved music. The raindrops were hitting the hollow log outside Percy's house a bit harder. Knock, knock, knock. Percy smiled. "What a splendid drum sound," he chirped. Percy readied his beak and answered the rain's knock with his own tat. "Rain, knock." "Percy, tat." "Rain, knock." "Percy, tat." Now there was a duet in the forest. From the leaves, pitter patter pitter. From the log, knock tap knock. The rain got a little faster. Now it wasn't just falling on leaves, but on the big rocks and the top of the caves too. The forest's gentle giant, a bear named Barnaby, was sitting at the entrance of his cave. As the raindrops hit the rocks above the cave, they made a deep, hollow sound. Boom, boom, boom. Barnaby cheered up when he heard this strong sound. He joined the rhythm by stomping his big paws. "That's it," said Barnaby in his deep voice. "The bass drums of the forest are playing." Barnaby stomped his foot, thump. Rusty swished his tail, tap. Percy pecked the tree, tat. The forest was slowly coming alive, but something was missing, a melody. A beautiful bird with blue wings named Bluebell was sheltering under a mushroom. As the raindrops fell into the little brook running through the forest, they made a crystal clear sound. Splish, splash, splish. Bluebell loved this sound. "It sounds just like little bells," she said. Bluebell began to sing her loveliest song over the splish-splash sounds. Tweet tweet too. Tweet tweet too. Now the forest had turned into a giant concert hall. A different sound was coming from everywhere, and they were all in perfect harmony. The rain got faster and faster and turned into a downpour. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Little puddles began to form on the ground. Out from the bushes jumped a long-eared rabbit named Rosie. Rosie was a rabbit who couldn't sit still and loved to hop. When Rosie saw the puddles, she couldn't resist. "Hooray! The dance floor is ready," she shouted. Rosie jumped into the biggest puddle. Splash! Water sprayed everywhere. Rosie hopped to the right. Splish! She hopped to the left. Splosh! She spun around. Swish! Rusty looked down from the tree branch. Rosie's dance looked so much fun that he couldn't wait any longer. "Hang on, Rosie. I'm coming too." Rusty scurried down the tree and jumped into another puddle. Splash! Then came Barnaby the Bear. He stepped into a puddle with his giant paw. Plunk! Water went everywhere. Now all the animals had gathered in the clearing under the grand oak tree. The rain orchestra was playing its fastest song. Percy kept the tempo on the tree. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Bluebell sang. Tweet tweet too. Barnaby stomped his feet. Thump thump. Rusty and Rosie jumped in the puddles. Splish splosh splish splosh. Everyone was soaking wet, but nobody cared. They were having such a brilliant time. Thunder rolled in the sky. Rumble. Everyone stopped for a second and laughed. "I think that was the sky clapping for us," said Barnaby. "The sun and the rainbow." After a while, the rain began to slow down. The whoosh sound turned back into pitter, patter, then drip, drop, drip, and finally, it stopped completely. The grey clouds parted, and the sun smiled down on the washed, clean forest. Everything was sparkling. The leaves were emerald green, and the water droplets looked like diamonds. And in the sky, stretching from one end of the forest to the other, a massive, colourful rainbow appeared. Rusty panted, "Wow! What a concert that was!" Rosie shook her ears. Water sprayed whiz. "I have never danced such a fun dance in my life." The animals watched the rainbow, tired but happy. Percy said, "I used to think rain was just for getting wet. Turns out, rain is nature's most beautiful song." From that day on, the residents of Melody Woods never felt sad when they saw rain clouds. Because they knew that when it rained, the forest would sing its own song, and the great rain orchestra would take the stage. Rusty, Barnaby, Bluebell, Percy, and Rosie. They all began to wait excitedly for the next pitter, patter, pitter. The end.